Hello and welcome back to week 6 of the Christmas Quilt Sew Along. I'm Erica with Revival Threadworks, and this week we're going to be making these beautiful bead strings. So there are 3 different styles of bead strings that are going to connect all of our quilt blocks together. And this one is going to be a bit repetitive. So I would suggest grabbing a great audiobook and a good drink, and let's get started. All right. So this week has been a week that has been in my mind as just a very intimidating, very nerve-wracking week, not because of the complexity of what had to be done, but the sheer volume of stuff that had to be done. So what I have here is all the pieces that I need for my my small beads and then my large beads. And if you take a look here, this stack is like 220 little squares, and this is 110 little squares. All these squares have to be sewn onto the beads, and we have to do diagonal lines and everything. So I was just very, very intimidated just because, again, the sheer volume of stuff that had to be done. But I found a little solution, I think, to having to mark 330 different squares. Now, if you've been sewing for very long, or if you've been doing quilting or whatever for very long, I'm sure that you know what this little trick is. And so a while ago, I had bought some tape to go on my baby lock machine that is a line that goes from your needle all the way down the front of your machine. So that way you can line up pieces without having to mark them. Well, on my Bernina machine, I don't have that tape. I can't find it. I have looked everywhere for it. I couldn't find it. So I tried to hold the squares over the lines that are on my little extender piece or whatever, and they just don't stretch far enough. So I was thinking, okay, what can I do? So I have this tape that I bought on Amazon. It's a fluorescent tape that goes on a ruler to kind of help mark your lines. And I took this tape and I put it down the front of my machine, and it works like a charm. So I'm going to show you here in just a minute how to do this with your machine with just a regular piece of tape, but I am going to forego marking all of these squares, and I am absolutely thrilled about it. So in just a second, we'll go to the machine and I'll show it to you. But what we're going to do first is we are going to grab an audiobook, grab a drink, and buckle in, because this week is going to be a little bit time consuming, okay? It's going to be mindless work. That's why I say audiobook, because there's not a whole lot you need to actually think about when you're doing this. I'm just going to get these little pieces out of the way. What we're going to do is take our small bead pieces, and we're going to take these little tiny squares, and we're going to put them in each corner. Well, actually not each corner. We're going to put them in 2 corners, okay? Just like this. And then we're going to take the bigger ones and do the same thing. Okay, that way we can take these over to the machine and do all of them at the same time. So we can chain piece them and just move right along. So we're obviously going to want to put a pin in these just so that they don't shift. Let me get this a little bit better for you. Anyway, we're going to take these over to the machine, and we're going to sew from here to here, and then here to here, here to here, here to here. Then we'll bring them over here, we'll trim them up, fold them over, iron them the way that I've been showing you, the way that we do. But I'm going to show you how to do the little trick here. But anyway, what we're going to do is 14 of these and 55 of these, okay? Just chain piece them, and then we're going to come back here. I'm going to show you how to trim them and how to do the next step. Okay, so here's my little solution. So again, they do make tape that they sell on Amazon that has lines on here for you. This is just a little workaround because I can't find my tape. This right here is just a tiny little roll of semi-translucent neon orange tape. It looks just like this. I bought this to mark my rulers. But what I've done is I've put it as far up as I can to get close to the needle without interfering with my feed dogs there. And I've got this little line here that aligns with the straight line all the way down. Now it's hard to see. Let me see if I can move the camera. Okay, so I've got lines that go all the way down my tray. So I have just taken this piece of tape and followed that line all the way down. And then here is how it works. So when I'm putting my piece through the machine, first off, let me go ahead and do my little leader starter piece, just because we've got these little points here and they're going to end up getting stuck in those feed dogs if I don't. Anyhow, what we're going to do is we're going to position this point right there at the needle where we need it to be, just like that. And then the end of the point is going to meet up with the edge of that tape. So let me move the camera just a little bit more. So you see how the point there lines up with this tape? As I run it through, I'm going to go ahead and start running it through. As I run it through, I'm just going to make sure that that point stays right up there with that tape. So if you can see how slow I'm going, you see how that edge is staying right there along that tape. Just like that. Let me go ahead and move the camera back up. Anyway, I'm going to take it off just so that you can see. But look, ha! We have a perfect little diagonal without having to sit there and make 330 different diagonal lines. I wish that I would have done this on the other pieces. I just didn't even think about it. I didn't remember it. But when like I said, when I was getting very intimidated with all of these that we had to do, I realized, yeah, I need to do something different. So anyhow, this is just a way to eliminate having to draw the lines. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through all the rest of this sewing, and then we'll go back to the table and talk about what's next. So I ended up getting into quite a groove when it came to working on these pieces the other day. I was sitting down watching a show with my husband. I pulled out my cutting mat and all that stuff, and I was lopping them off and ironing and everything, and it didn't even occur to me to film it, so I apologize for that. However, once you finish that first step, you're just going to cut off, you put your ruler right there on the seam line with 1/4 of an inch, trim that off, and then we're just going to press them open. So we're left with the small beads that look like this, and then the large beads that look like this. So what we're going to do is take the other background square pieces that we have, and we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite corner. So we're just going to take those squares and pin them here, and then we're going to sew from 1/4 of an inch from here to here and here to here, and then we're going to trim those off and press those open as well. We're going to do that with both the large and the small beads. So let's go ahead and get that done, and then we'll come back here and talk about how we're going to add the side pieces, and then how we're going to create the bead sets. Okay, so now that we're done sewing together all of our small beads and large beads, and we're ready to make them look like this, these squares, how we're going to get there that I forgot to show in the last step, of course, I apologize, is we're just going to cut off that excess little bit over there that we sewed, so the other half of the square. Just going to trim them like this, and I am putting them on a row just to make it a little bit easier for myself. So what you want to do is find a line, put both points on that line, line up the next one, put it on that line, and then take your ruler 1/4 inch mark on both the top and the bottom, and then we're just going to lop that off. Now the next thing that we want to do is press these open. Just like this. And I forgot, of course, to set my seam right there, but we're going to set the seam just like this. Sorry. And then we're going to press it open. Now I want to show you a little tip that I'm sure some of you already know, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that don't know. So I did actually go ahead and do all the pressing on these off camera. Like I said last time, I was just kind of involved in a show and just, you know, mindlessly did all the stuff I needed to do. Anyway, what ended up happening is these little edges just stayed curled up like this. I pressed them, I pressed the heck out of them, I stacked them, I put a book on top, and I could not get these little edges to lay flat. So with these bigger ones, they do lay a whole lot flatter with just the iron. But I forgot that I have what's called a tailor's clapper. So it's just a little piece of wood here that has some grooves in the side. What you do is when you press your item, you put that tailor's clapper over it, and the heat dissipates and goes through the wood, and it ends up being a much, much, much flatter piece of fabric, especially on these little tiny ones. I didn't do it with the bigger ones. I did it with the little ones, and the difference was literally night and day. So my little pieces end up being super, super flat versus, you know, the edges all curled up. Like I said, on these bigger ones, I don't think that it's nearly as necessary, especially because the clapper doesn't fit, you know, super well across the whole thing. But this tailor's clapper was probably $10 on Amazon. I don't use it nearly as much as I should, but I think this project here actually taught me how valuable a tailor's clapper actually is. So I think I'm going to use it a whole lot more from here on out. Anyway, once we press all 14 of these, all 55 of these, then the next step is going to be to add the supporting pieces, or, you know, the extra background pieces. So what we're going to do is you're going to take those squares, again, consult your pattern, and we are just going to add those squares to each side, right sides to right sides. So with a 1/4 inch seam, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, 1/4 inch seam, and we are going to end up with our pieces like this. And we're going to do the same thing with the small pieces, the little small squares, except these pieces are a bit longer. So we're just going to line them up here, sew them, line them up here, and sew them, and then we'll press them open. Now, one thing that I do want to address, because I'm a new quilter, my precision is not great, and I'm going to show you what I mean by this. So we're going to take this little square here and we're going to put it right here on this ruler. Now you're going to see I'm a little bit cockeyed here, so I'm not all the way across there. I'm a little bit shifted over that way, so this little corner is off. The rest of them actually look pretty good. So here's how I found to make it a little bit straighter, because the pattern does not call to square these up, meaning I don't think there's any excess in these pieces to be able to square up. So here's what I did. I just found my squarest, or my straightest side, and that's where I put my piece here. So I just found this little corner, put my piece there, and then tried to make sure that as I pinned this, I could be as straight as I could be across this bottom. Yes, it does hang over here a little bit, but that's okay. So what I did is when I sewed, I followed the line on the top, right? And then when I went to place the other one, what I did is I made sure that this piece, this top piece, was as even and square with this other piece that I could make it. So again, I'm not precise. I'm a new quilter. I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there that can do much straighter sewing than I can, but this was what I found, and this is what made it a little bit easier for me. And the same thing with these big blocks. If you'll see here, I'm not perfect. I don't try to be bad, but you know, it just is what it is. So what I've done is just, again, I'm trying to line these up as best I can. And if you notice here, I'm a little bit over here, I'm a little bit over here, but my eye is going to follow this top one when I sew. And then when I put this other piece on, same thing. My piece is going to try to square up with this other piece as much as it can, so that when it opens, I have as straight a piece as I can get. Anyhow, let's go ahead and go to the machine and sew all of these background pieces to all of our squares. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about how we're going to assemble each of the string units. I think there's 3. There's string A, string B, and string C. So we'll get all those assembled next. All right, now that we have all of our bead units made, now it's time to make the string sets. So this is string A, which is 2 of the small beads with 1 large bead, 2 beads on the bottom. This is string A. We'll make 6 of these, so 6 total. So I've got my little pile here of all the pieces that I need. And then this is string B. So we've got 2 small ones, 1 large one, and then 3 small ones. We're going to make 4 of these. And then the last set is going to be string C. We've got 2 small beads, followed by 2 large beads, followed by 2 small beads. We're only going to make 2 of these. So what we're going to do is just take these over to the machine, and we're just going to stitch them row by row. So what I would recommend is, I mean, there are some of you that are probably super well organized. I get that. For me, I think I'm going to go string set by string set by string set, and I'm just going to do, you know, all 6 of these at the same time, but I'll do this row first. I'll sew these 2 together, and then I'll sew these 2 together, and then I'll just kind of start doing it, you know, row by row by row, but only do 1 string set A at a time, or excuse me, string set A at one time, string set B at one time, string set C at one time, because I think that we have so many little pieces like this that I don't want to get anything mixed up. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on string set A, and then I'll come back, show you what that looks like. Then we'll move on to string set B, then string set C. But anyhow, this is how I'm going to approach it. You can do them all at once if you want to. Okay, so I did end up doing a little bit more assembly than I thought that I would. I ended up doing all of these that needed 2 together, and it turns out every single one of the bead string sets actually has a set of 2. So bead string A, this is bead string A. Bead string B is this same thing plus an additional one at the bottom, and then bead string C is just an extra one of the big ones. So it turns out I did 24 sets of 2 of these small ones, and there are 7 that I did not do together just because they go elsewhere in the pattern. So that made it a little bit easier. Like I said, I just did 24 sets of 2 of these small ones. Now I have a whole little stack over here that I can work with. So now when I'm going to complete bead string A, this is the configuration. So we'll have 2 small beads at the top, a large bead in the middle, 2 small beads at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just take these and sew them together with 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to take it and press it, and then take the top and do the same thing, sew it together with 1/4 of an inch, and then press it open. So now I have all 6 of my bead string number A, and now I'm going to work with bead string B. So what I'm going to do is grab my sets of 2 that I had before, and hopefully you can recall from the very beginning of this section when I showed you how these were going to lay out. Bead string B is going to be just like this. We've got 2 small ones, 1 large one, followed by 3 small beads. So what I'm going to do first is add this 3rd one to this set here, and then I'm going to assemble this, sew it 1/4 of an inch, press it, take this whole unit, sew it, and press it, and then we'll come back and we'll review bead string C. Okay, now I have all of my bead string bead string B. So I've got bead string A, I've got 6 of those. Bead string B, I have got 4 of those. And now we're going to make the last and final bead string C. So this one here, it will take 2 of the large beads per ornament with 2 small beads on top and 2 small beads on bottom, and then we're going to make 2 of those. So the first thing that I'm going to do is sew these 2 together, and then I'm going to press them open, and then I'm going to sew this one to the bottom and press, and then I'm going to sew this one to the top and press. I'm going to do that twice so that we have 2 bead string C's. Well, my goodness, it has been a very long road with all of these bead strings. I thought that I was literally never going to get them done. However, like I said, I put in an audiobook, grabbed a drink, and I did multiple different sessions of sewing, trimming, pressing, those kinds of things, just so that I could get these, you know, done in a way that wasn't so overwhelming to do it all at one time. So we've got bead string A, bead string B, bead string C. And then next week, we're going to start putting it all together so that we can finally see what this quilt's going to look like. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I know that this one was a lot. It was a lot to assemble, a whole lot of repetition, a whole lot of the same thing over and over and over and over again, but I hope that you got through it with ease. I know that I did. I just broke it out into a couple different sessions and it ended up coming together just fine. Next week, we're going to put the whole quilt top together. This is the most exciting part for me. It's where we get to add the bead strings to the ornaments and see this whole thing come together. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. And if you liked this video, please like, share, subscribe, comment, leave some pictures in the community group so that I can see what you're doing. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you on Friday. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.